Galloping, galloping, galloping. Here we are again, vk3sl testing on 160 and on UHF. And yes, we managed to find a course for this afternoon where it was looking like it wasn't going to happen for a while, and it possibly won't happen tomorrow. I've got an appointment. I've got a medical appointment, so I can't go tomorrow. Or maybe. We'll see. I might be home in time. Anyhow, folks, welcome. This is a test missions. That's all it is. It's just a form of expression during these COVID times where we play nostalgia to air and titillate the airwaves with something. Now, what I'll do is I'm still doing a little bit of fine-tuning here, and while that's all happening, we'll fade out Mr. B and see what we've got on the list. We have a 78. It's a recording of the Piccadilly Players. That's a band fronted by none other than Al Storita. Recording made for Columbia in the late 1920s. Let's have a listen to Happy Go Lucky.
Got a little roof above me and a home that's oh so plain, and there's someone there to love me on happy-go-lucky lane. It's an easy way I'm living, I'm too busy to complain. Every day is my Thanksgiving on happy-go-lucky lane. 'Twas a perfect day that brought my way a perfect bundle of charms, and I had to grin when dimpled chin first went to sleep in my arms. Let the sunshine keep on scorching, let the heavens pour out rain. In my heart I own a fortune on happy-go-lucky lane.
Sorry, folks, that was a bit of a missed cue there. Yeah, the music of Al Storita and the Piccadilly Players on and on Columbia, and we're testing here on 160 and on UHF, trying to sort things out. I'm just looking at this audio processor and realising that I've got a lot more control than I thought I had. But it probably doesn't make much difference to AM because the system is not exactly high-end. But never mind, we learn as we go, and we have some nostalgia lineups here. Well, while I continue to warm my seat and get sorted and organised, I will play something else that's just popped up. A travelogue, no else, and this is something quite, maybe a bit of light relief during these lockdown times. We're going to listen to Summers by the Sea.
Situated on the beautiful shores of Western Port Bay, on the Mornington Peninsula, is Australia's greatest holiday resort. The ex-RAAF camp at Summers has been converted into a model holiday town, where everything for the holidaymaker is provided right on the spot. And there are such surprises as, for example, a cafe within easy distance of your room, a milk bar and confectionery, a private party room, a miniature post office. There's a chemist shop, a sports store where every needed article of sports equipment is available. At feature holidays, the accent is on things to do, and most sports are played right on the premises. There's table tennis, the kiddies have a special playroom, dancing, of course, Mozart, I wonder, 6 roomy tennis courts, volleyball to shake your meals up or down. A riding school is conducted right in the camp. And, no, mister, let the horse jump it. There's golf right on the premises. What a man. Bus tours from the camp are a popular feature. And, of course, you've heard of the fishing in Western Port Bay. But some go boating for pleasure. The beach at Summers is wide and safe and extends for miles. And do the kiddies enjoy it? You may come to Summers as a stranger, but you leave as a friend, while the Jive Boys give a farewell performance. Summers by the Sea on Western Port Bay and the ideal holiday resort. Where is Summers? All holiday roads lead this way to there. Write to any tourist bureau for further information. But book now for your next holiday at Summers by the Sea.
That wasn't supposed to finish so suddenly. Yet, that was only a 3-minute travelogue. I was expecting it to go for 13 minutes. never the mind. Excuse the dead air. This is the...
Steve.
Oh, hi Frank, how are you?
vk3sl. Very well, thank you. And you?
Yeah, great, thank you. All fine and mild. No complaints.
Fine and mild.
Yes, fine and mild. Yeah. Just sort of settling into things. It's been a busy day at the coalface. I've just had wall-to-wall students from early this morning. So I'm sort of feeling a bit brain dead, a bit sort of blinkered. That sense of being sort of in constant action. It's intense. It's very very hands-on. But anyhow, we got there in the end, and I'm pleased to have a moment of repose. But just sort of settling into things. I have to sort of switch out one system and switch in the other, and it does take a bit of time. So it's not always going to work at 5 o'clock. But I think we're up and running.
I'm having a sense of imprisonment with the combination of the lockdown and the cold.
Yeah, totally. It's freezing, isn't it? I went for a walk earlier on and nearly froze my toes off. It's freezing outside. Incredible.
I know.
Yeah.
We didn't do our walk today.
Okay, don't blame you. Yeah, freezing temperatures. But anyhow, that's the time of the year, I suppose. We have to expect this. Now, I'm just exploring. I didn't realise that this audio processor, this Innovonics thing I've got here, does have control over the pre-emphasis. And I'm just wondering, are you listening on headphones to 160 or are you listening with a very acutely aligned speaker?
I'm listening to the speaker in the transceiver, which is shocking.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Now, we can do a test another time. I'm interested to know because there is sort of aspects of the preamp that I can control with this, and I was just thinking that maybe it's worth finding a sweet spot or seeing if it's can be optimized further.
Even if I get headphones, which I can very easily do, the filter is still, I think it makes... I don't think that I'd even notice the preamp really.
No, fair enough. That's okay.
You can try if you like.
I'm peaking at 4K at the moment, but I can switch it up to, there we go, that's 8K. You probably don't notice any difference.
No, nothing.
Nothing. And here is at 10K peak.
Obviously.
No.
Again, no.
So you wouldn't even hear anything.
I tell you what, let me switch to the other. See, I'm listening to the speaker in the set. If I change over so that I'm actually on transmitting on 160 and receiving on 160, I'm listening to my external speaker,
yes,
which is a fair bit better.
Okay.
So do you want to just try the test again, and I'll be a little bit slow coming back?
Oh, okay, that's fine. Well, I can explain what I'm doing as I'm doing it, and then we can just have a talk. Yeah, look, that's fine. Yes, sounds good. There's two controls that I'm interested in exploring. One's the pre-emphasis and one's the limiter clipper. I can rotate between limit and clipping. So look, let's try the preamp first. Now I can peak now at that's at 3.5 kilohertz. And now that's at 4 kilohertz. Hello, test 1, 2, 3, 4. Now here we go. That's 8 kilohertz and 10 now, and I think this is 20 or 15 or something. So there we go. There are 3 or 4 different settings there. 20, 10, 8, 4, and 3.5. I'll let it sit on 4. It's on 4 at the moment. Now here's the other control. The other control is a limiter, and that's on full peak limiting at the moment. Now if I rotate this, it'll differentiate between peak limiting and clipping. So we can just sort of rotate this now. This is moving into the clipping zone. We're now past the 12 o'clock position, and that's fully clipping now. So it'll probably sound really edgy and horrible and rough. That's clipping. And then if I go back, of course the clipping probably cuts through better at distance. But anyhow, I'll go back to, that's halfway between, it's partly limiting and partly clipping, but I'll go back to the limiting part way anyhow. So with just a little bit of clipping. So there we have it. There's a few little seasonal tests there, which probably won't amount to much because, as I said before, the system is probably not going to really reveal much difference because it's quite compromised essentially. So there we go. Frank, whenever you're ready, I'll wait some, probably absolutely no difference between any setting. But anyhow, we are testing here. That's the name of the game. These are tone tests on 160 and on UHF. Trying things out. But
yes, yeah. I'm back.
Yeah, you probably didn't hear any difference.
Not with the preamp. I couldn't. I think it's all happening above my filter cutoff.
Yeah, I thought so.
Certainly the clipping was noticeable.
Yeah.
And as you would expect, higher audio level,
yes,
but a degradation in quality.
Yes, definitely.
No good. What you don't want for music, I should think.
No, that's fair enough. Yeah, I think later during the grey line, and I'm sort of thinking of getting out and about further, I might switch it in for things like the Thunderbirds. Who knows? But it just might.
Good. It could be very good. Yeah, I would say why not? Why not? But I'm sure Mr. ASC would give you a much better report.
Yeah, well, I think that'll, we can await a better front end system to do that more comprehensively. But yeah, there's always that sense of wonder. Oh, I wonder if I can optimize this, or I wonder what I can do with that, and that sense of controlling your parameters, even if it doesn't really amount to much.
That's half the fun of it, really.
Well, it is half the fun, turning dials, twiddling knobs. Now, I did end up putting on one of the very best Thunderbirds last night after the recording of Susmaya for my as a little thing for my uncle. After I played that, I decided to switch off the stream and I played Ricochet. Do you remember the episode Ricochet about
the disc jockey?
Yes,
I do remember that.
Yes. So we heard that last night.
Oh, that's as you say, that is one of the best.
Oh, look, it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I listened to the whole thing. And I thought it was marvellous. So, yes, and great soundtrack all the way through. I have to say, Barry Gray is really just, it's fantastic. It's very cliched, but in the most wonderful way. It's sort of...
Yeah, I mean, sure, it's cliched, but to me, it doesn't date, really. I guess that's part of my growing old with it, and it's locked into my psyche now.
Yes, but it's sort of a little bit tongue-in-cheek, which I like as well. It doesn't take itself too seriously.
It's lovely. It's kind of a little bit of the way The Simpsons is tongue-in-cheek.
Yes, it is. That's right. So yes, it takes an oblique look at itself. The whole program does. So yeah, I think it fits in very nicely. So yeah, I'll just get used to switching off the stream and indulging in episodes of the Thunderbirds. I think
that would be terrific.
We'll make that a goer.
Oh, yeah.
But I think I'll have to play I'll have to pick a peak time, and we'll replay Ricochet at a peak time, because it is one of the very best Thunderbirds episodes. And hearing it again last night really brought that to the fore. How it was excellent. So
another one of my favourites is when somebody tips a bottle of growth hormone into a swamp.
Oh yes, and the crocodiles. Yes, that's very clever, that one. Now, apparently that was the very first. That was the very first episode of the Thunder. It was like the pilot episode.
Really? I didn't know that.
I was reading about that, yeah. And what they actually did was they filmed it inside a tank of little small reptiles.
Yeah.
and with all the miniature sets, those small reptiles look really big. So it sort of looks authentic. So they did it very well. And you see these monstrous-looking sort of raptors and things moving around, but in actual fact they're about the size of your finger, I think.
And they had this great sound effects.
Yes.
I think they'd recorded ordinary sort of lion or raw noise and slowed it down.
Yes, I think you're right. I think that's what they did. Yeah, the crocodiles. Oh, that's brilliant. I might dial that up. I'll see if it's there online. That'd be great to play. I think I'll play that later on. Yeah, now that apparently was the very first one and put them on the map. But yes, the growth hormone and the big crocodiles.
Forces of Evil Man had the growth hormone, didn't he?
Yes, he certainly did. Yes, and unfortunately they've all got Eastern European accents, all the baddies.
That's right.
Oh boy.
I think they're largely the same bloke, but they never really
I think
catch.
so. Yes, yes. And there's I think anyone Hungarian, Yugoslavian,
Yeah, that's right.
they don't get a good Guernsey. So I think there's a lot of Cold War fervour there.
Yeah, probably.
I think that's the case. Yeah.
Well, that's what is it? Early 60s.
Yeah, it is. That's right. So that's the heart of it. That's the era. But I do like Sylvia Anderson's voice.
Isn't it lovely?
I know, she's got a silky voice.
Very seductive voice.
I know, does she ever?
In all the senses of seductive.
I
really.
know. Yes, I was listening to her last night. She was doing Tintin, and she was also doing Lady Penelope.
She does Grandma, of course.
And Grandma as well. She does them all. But I think she might still be around. I wonder.
no, really?
Yeah, I know that Jerry passed on about a year ago, not that long ago, and but she might still be around. Yeah. Anyhow, it's wonderful material, great missions fodder, and it's probably a good sort of relevant-ish thing to put on because anyone who grew up in that era who's into ham radio, I reckon a fair proportion of them either admit it or don't admit it, but did watch the Thunderbirds at some stage.
It's got that technical bent to it, hasn't it?
It does. It's sort of it looks up close, and it's got its own rationale. It's not too far fetched, and it's set in the future. It's futuristic.
Its own internal logic works very well.
It does. Got some great names for apparatus and things, and some of them are hilarious. And yes, futuristic missions. It's very good. Swallowing transmitters, miniature transmitters.
That's right. Having the transmitter dissolver.
Yeah, that's right. And tractor beams and remote control things and stuff that works on its own. One of the funny things is that on the in the visual side is that they often use. Well, it was before digital. So they've got things like analog panels with big VU meters, and they must have just. This must have got me into consoles, I reckon, as a young kid.
Probably.
Because there's all of these. There's VU meters everywhere. Every episode has meters with full deflection somewhere. Doing something. That's right, and clocks with real hands on them, and so it's all pre-digital. So they didn't quite get past that point, but that's got its own intrigue. Of course, it's wonderful. Yeah, so
it is. Well, that puts it in its time frame.
Yes, it very much does. Yeah, whereas it was programs like Star Trek, the original Star Trek, they're trying
to get out of their time frame.
They were, and they sort of there's a certain ambivalence, or that you didn't really know if it was digital. It was something sort of futuristic that they didn't show too much because they didn't want to get it. They'd want it to be sort of contained or too locked into a particular determined time. So it was quite cleverly futuristic, I think, Star Trek. Yes. And sort of panels that just light up in weird ways that don't make sense to anyone, but it sort of has its own internal sort of logic. But now Thunderbirds is very much about analog clocks and analog meters everywhere, and tape machines, lots of tape machines, analog tape.
Terrific.
It's wonderful. I love it. Yeah.
But the uniqueness of the marionette style was, I mean, obviously marionette stuff is not unique, but in a show like that, it probably was.
I'd say so. It fascinates me how they can sort of they'd have to operate within a very narrow, I don't know, spatial confine, the whole thing. You wouldn't get much. You wouldn't be able to sort of move forward or backwards too much. You wouldn't be able to have a lot of space using those puppets. No. So it's all done very cleverly. Using other things, like I know when the Thunderbirds are flying, they have a drum with a moving sky behind them.
All right.
So that sort of gives the illusion.
Impression of motion. Yeah.
Yes, it does. It's really clever how they've done that. And they've just got like rotating backdrops and moving backdrops and things like that with static. Otherwise, you get too many wobbly missions with models sort of blowing in the wind.
That's it.
So, yeah. Anyhow, it's all very clever. Wonderful stuff.
And, of course, we've got the Australian connection.
Yes, Mr. Tingwall, Charles Tingwall.
And Ray Barrett.
Oh, is Ray Barrett in them as well?
Certainly, and John Tate.
Oh, really? Okay. Oh, I didn't know Ray Barrett. John Tate. Are they sort of mainstream characters in it? Or?
They're spotty. They're not in all of them.
Yeah, sure.
I can tell you when they arise.
Yeah, do tell me. Let me know, because you know the voices much better than I do. And I'd love to know. It's interesting to contemplate that. I know that I think Bud Tingwell is the guy up in the space station, I think.
John, is he?
I think he's John.
John's in the space station.
Yes, John.
He's a hell of a life. Poor old John. He's up there all the time.
I know, so lonely up in the space station. And of course, last night's episode, the Ricochet one, everything went sour because they were doing an upgrade in the space station.
Yes.
And yes, they were offline for a short time, and then all hell breaks loose. Yeah, and so yes, they rely on the real missions to put out the emergency call. How about that?
How about it?
Yeah, it's good. So anyhow, yeah, well, we'll see what happens. So tomorrow night, look, we'll have to think about missions tomorrow night.
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
Oh, we'll need another jazz giant. Can you think up another jazz giant to do a bit of a expose on?
Yes, give me a couple of minutes.
Yeah, we'll have a think about it. Just send me an email and we'll drum up some stuff, or send me some tracks, and we'll have a jazz segment. Let's have a jazz segment for a bit.
All right.
Yeah, and each week, so I think that's sort of fun. And then, or a jazz fusion or something that's a bit progressive and interesting. And I might even put a small segment in as to sort of pushing boundaries. Segment. Well, I think we were talking about this a while back. Just following on from what I did when I first started these missions, was to sort of test my own sensibilities and play stuff that I wouldn't usually listen to, and especially avant-garde music. And I might make it just really short and sweet, so people, if they want to turn off, they can come back.
Won't miss too much.
Won't miss too much, and just small samples, something to sort of I don't know, just for the sake of it. I just feel like I need to exercise an open mind in different art music spheres. So maybe
Bit of Steve Reich, that sort of thing.
Yeah, we could put some Steve Reich or some more electronic music of a different kind. Stockhausen. We could try a bit of Stockhausen. That could be good. A bit more Penderecki.
Yeah, I might turn that off myself. I don't want the nightmares.
No, that's a bit hard. That's a bit.
No, he's all right. I'm sure he didn't write exclusively scream music.
No, that's right. That's pretty tough. That one. That's just.
My God, it's so realistic.
Oh, I know it is. Well, it's just like one huge primal scream. That piece. It's unbelievable. Just look at a few different schools, maybe a little bit of serialism, or maybe some stuff. I like sort of profiling a little bit when composers moved into a different direction, sort of changed their take. And Stravinsky is an interesting one because he sort of explored a whole range. He was really into neoclassicism in a big way, but he also...
yes, and then he went right into sort of almost atonalism.
Yes, he did. He went into serialism for a while, and then he sort of moved back, and he sort of had these little forays into different styles, and then sort of moved back into something that was more comfortable. And even Prokofiev did. I mean, it'd be great to do a program just looking at some of Prokofiev's music concrete that he wrote in the just after the First World War. He got into some brutalism and that sort of real Soviet manufactured sort of music. And,
a long way from the classical symphony.
Oh, totally. It couldn't be more different. And I reckon that would be a really interesting thing to look at. I remember doing it at uni. I remember thinking, my God, is this Prokofiev? But it was sort of industrial music and all industrial sounds.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, that would be good to look at. I don't know much about it at all. But
there's a lot to do.
There is. There's so much. And look, ethnic music, we should do something. Maybe that in that slot we could also put in some ethnic music and it'd be nice to revisit gamelan music, wouldn't it? Be good.
Totally.
Yeah, I reckon that'd be fun. Have a listen to some of that and
Indian ragas.
Yeah, that'd be great. Listening to some Indian music, and we've had our bit of vintage Japanese, but maybe there's some authentic more. I'd like to hear some more shakuhachi. That would be good to hear.
You could play some of that shamisen that I sent you.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. We could do that definitely. Yeah, there's all manner of different things we can explore. So
you're ever going to run out of missions fodder.
oh, there'll never be an end. This is like a it's on a roll, and it's a self-fulfilling thing. But I do have to bear in mind that one of the aims is to use the records here, because I find it hard to justify having all these records if I don't use them.
Yeah, of course. That's one of the priorities.
A part of it's got to be about that, otherwise
Sure.
it suddenly loses track, and I might as well clear the room.
Well, they're good too.
Oh, they're good fun. Now, I was going through some these recordings of Ralph's, which I've got to dub off, and big stack of, or you were around the other week when we looked at them, and there's a number of program world service transcription records, 16-inch records, and they're all from America, or a lot of them are from America. But some of them are really look interesting. I haven't sampled this yet, but this one here is of Les Paul and his trio. So
Oh, wonderful.
I reckon this could be quite good, and it's in very good nick. I haven't even heard it at all. So I reckon, how about we'll put this on for a while and for a bit.
It'd be terrific. When I was a kid, like about 9 and 10, just starting to buy records,
Yeah.
I totally fascinated by Les Paul and Mary Ford multi-tracking.
Okay.
Totally fascinated.
Wow.
And I bought all their records.
Oh, marvellous.
All of that. There were about 10 78s.
Really?
I bought each one as it came out, or put all my pocket money into it,
Fantastic.
and I absolutely loved them.
Oh, good.
And that's not what you're going to play now. Les, it was hit music, you know.
Okay, sure.
But Les Paul is. I was going to say he's better than that. That's it's a bit.
Yeah, sure. I know what you're
classed
saying.
to discriminatory, but
Yeah.
he certainly his musicality came out far better in his jazz playing.
Okay, that's interesting. Well, I'm presuming this is his jazz playing. I have no idea. It's the tracks are Just Me, Avalon, Caravan, Sleepy Time Gal, and Take Me Out to the Ball Game.
Oh, no, it is. It's great.
So these will be jazz recordings about 1947, and
predated Mary.
Yeah.
His what? Mary Ford was his wife. As you would know.
Yes, of course, that's right. Yes, they had long association, didn't they?
They did. It's not all that long ago that Les died.
I remember reading that. He only passed away in the last decade, I think.
Yeah, or maybe the last few years.
Yeah.
He was actually a very good guitarist.
Yeah, sure.
And he was a ham as well.
I didn't know that.
He certainly was.
How interesting is that? Wow. He's obviously really fascinated with technology.
Oh, yeah.
And but I would like to flesh out the whole thing about his multi-tracking and learn a lot more about it, because I think
You do a whole program
I
on
think
that.
we could, or maybe, did you want to lead a program on that? You could do that.
That would be great.
If you could, it'd be wonderful, because it's something that's close to you, and I'm deeply interested. But it would be much better if it came from you. And if you just gave me a list of songs about Les Paul.
Yeah.
And I'll just line them up, and you fire the shots. And give us the background, because I'd really like to learn a lot more about him. And he's a major figure, and the whole business of multi-tracking just changed music forever. And to think that he was one of the pioneers and was using these techniques with that early Ampex machines, as I understand it.
That's right. The other great area of progress, of course, was in the development of the electric guitar.
Yeah, sure. Yes, and I gather he was always playing electric guitar. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
They're always solid-bodied guitars, I think.
Right. Okay, that's interesting. Sure. So, well, look, we'll have a listen to this. I think we'll go. It's got 5 locked grooves, so I've just got to be in here to give the needle a nudge between each track.
Well, that's good.
But it's off a 16-inch. And it says here recorded by 2GB and processed by AWA for the program World Service. So yeah, obviously they're from masters from America.
Yep.
But it does look like it's in nice condition. So I think it should play well. And
That's great.
So yep, we'll put it on the table. And we'll just dial up our 33. I think it's a 33, and I think it's an outside start. That's good. So we'll just get things going and get this turntable on the move. And so thanks, Frank. That's great. Well, I'll follow on with this. I've got to go in and do a few things now. And and I'll have this on as we go. And tomorrow, I'm just not sure. I've got an appointment tomorrow, so I'm not sure if I'll be back or not. I'll just have to wait and see.
I'll send you an email anyway.
Yeah, so if I don't make it on tomorrow night, I'll definitely catch up with you later in the evening, and we can chat then.
Sounds good.
So thanks. It's always good to talk, and we'll have our Les Paul special. This is vk3sl, and I think we're right to go. This material is absolutely brilliant. Music of Les Paul. And what I'm going to do is switch in the noise reduction system. So we'll continue now with a little bit of minor processing just to clean things up a little bit more. These are locked grooves, so it takes a moment to kick in. listening to the music of Les Paul and his trio of a world transcription recording from the late 1940s, X2GB. And that was pressed by AWA from American Masters. It's a whole stack of these here. And, sorry, I'll just fade up. Sorry, you were saying?
So, does it say who the other members of the trio
Look,
are?
it doesn't. It doesn't, I'm afraid. So I'm not
Sure,
sure.
we can look that up.
I think so. It'd be most interesting to find out. And I'll make a really good dub of that and put it up on YT because I think it's going to add to the canon, I think. It's fantastic. What an artist. Just beautifully played. Absolutely superb.
Lovely smooth playing, isn't it?
Oh, look, absolutely. Really good. And it reminds me a bit of the Nat King Cole trio. It's sort of got that...
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much of that period, of course.
I think so, definitely. Yeah, so what's on the other side? It's a different artist on the other side. I'll just check and see. Side B is the Lord Jordan, Louis Jordan and his Timpani 5.
Well, they're terrific. Then.
Mm.
Do you know Louis Jordan's a classic sort of, I don't know what you call him, rhythm and bluesy sort of figure.
Okay.
Sort of New Orleans sort of stuff. Terrific. He's a legend.
Oh, marvellous. Okay. Well, I tell you what, before putting on the our alligator episode of the Thunderbirds...
You found it.
I did find it, and we'll
Well
put that
done.
on. And
Don't forget to turn the stream off.
I will have to turn the stream off, definitely. And Wayne's chimed in with Lloyd Parker's Holiday as well, which I think that's one of the ones where we it typecasts a certain ethnic...
Excellent.
Yeah, but it's all within the scope of a program from a long time ago. So, we'll put that one on as well, definitely on the list. So, yep. All right, well, let's continue. Let's have a listen to Louis Jordan and his Timpani 5. I'd like to have a listen to this, and they are locked grooves, and I'll be darting in and outside, so if you hear a bit of a long gap, you'll know why.
Worry not.
But, we'll give this a whirl. Looks good. So the names of the tracks are Let's Make It a Date, Paperboy, Riding in an Upper Berth, and Saxa Woogie. So, all each track's about 3 minutes each. And as I said, these are recorded by 2GB and processed by AWA with American Master Recordings. So, let's continue. vk3sl, and thanks, Frank.
K3JR.
kids are cutting capers. You're awfully busy selling papers. You just ain't got no time to play. Paper boy, your shoes are worn beyond repairing. You're not ashamed of what you're wearing, because you've had a busy day. When you shout, hey mister, want a paper?
Yes, son.
Folks who read just can't refuse. Everybody buys all your papers, keeping up with the latest news. Paper boy, a kid like you with your ambition, someday will have a high position, although you're just a paper boy. When you shout, hey mister, want the evening paper?
Yes, son.
Folks who read just can't refuse. Everybody buys all your papers, keeping up with the latest news. Paper boy, a kid like you with your ambition, someday, son, you're gonna hold a high position. But right now, you ain't nothing but a paper boy. Sax-a-woogie, sax-a-woogie, sax-a-woogie is a boogie, it's a boogie-woogie doogie, it's a banger. Sax-a-woogie is a boogie and you're bound to get the boogie beat in your feet. My baby walking, it's silly to stay home talking and listen to people squawking. Come on along and take a stroll on 7th Avenue. We'll go along window shopping and steal a kiss while we're stopping, but we won't be window shopping. Come on along and take a stroll on 7th Avenue. The folks passing by may give us the eye, we'll be unaware. It's so plain to see that when you're with me, I'm walking on air. We ought to be home by 7, but we may stay out till 11, 'cause walking is solid heaven. Come on along and take a stroll on 7th Avenue. We'll be unaware. It's so plain to see that when you're with me, I'm walking on air. We ought to be home by 7, but we may stay out till 11, 'cause walking is solid heaven. Come on along and take a stroll on 7th Avenue. Come along, let's stroll the avenue.
Listening to Louis Jordan and his Timpani 5. Recordings from a vinyl transcription pressing from the 1940s. And there is quite a stash of these which I look forward to sampling in subsequent missions. This is vk3sl testing, of course, on 160 and on UHF and streaming online, but we're about to drop the streaming service. But I should mention there is a secondary streaming service which remains on. So if you are watching the streaming service and I'd like to defer, it's just a question of looking up. There's two ways to it, really. One is to go to a blog page I've created for these missions. And it's sort of a bit dormant, but it's there and it has links. And that is vk3sl.blogspot.com. And there's also an email address attached to that, which can be found if you look on the Blogspot. And there is also a link to a secondary streaming service, which is active at the moment. Another approach is to look up my call sign on qrz.com, and there is also a link there as well. So we have to defer because there's a bit of a copyright issue with these episodes of the Thunderbirds. I really can't play them because I got a lucky or an unlucky strike yesterday, and I don't want there to be any more of that sort of thing. Otherwise, I am going to lose my log. So there we go. It probably wouldn't make a lot of difference, but it does chronicle the COVID missions. All right. Well, what I will do at this point, I'll drop off the stream. If you can't go onto the other stream and you're wanting to continue, just look up YouTube. It's all there. It's called Attack of the Alligators, the Thunderbirds. That's the name of the program. So it's all